So, I'm going to stream for you some comedy. I'm going to try something out because I might do it for open mic tonight. Ugh. Come on, baby. I see. Yep, that's what I wanted to do. So I'm going to practice it. Mostly what I'm doing is timing it. But I also want to see if I think it's funny when I play it back. So good evening. I'm Karvaly. Karvaly being a small predator. Recently retired. Retired from public school teaching. Did that for 26 years. So, how many teachers does it take to screw in a light bulb? They can't do it. They don't fit. How do you tell a boy chromosome from a girl chromosome? You pull down their genes. So the biggest problem I had teaching wasn't the curriculum, wasn't the behavior. It was spelling and sex. So what do I mean? I mean that in history, the biggest problem was teaching Egypt. When you teach ancient Egypt, you have to do spelling lessons on double consonants because you constantly get children telling you that the ancient Egyptians raped their mummies. Raped their mummies. They raped their mummies with cloth. They raped their mummies to keep them from stinking. Biggest problem with teaching geography. Telling them there's a Lake Titicaca. When they find out there's Intercourse, Pennsylvania, and from there you can either go to Climax or Blue Ball, Pennsylvania. Correcting their spelling if they needed to write a sign saying you're in Flushing, New York. Right. I taught to the boys quite a bit. It's easy to teach the girls, sit down, be quiet, look like you're busy, daydream, easy stuff. But teaching the boys is a little bit different. One of the main things I would do is teach them the word fart. I'd use the word fart. If you pay attention, you'll notice that once in a while a teacher steps out of their room, looks at the sky, looks around, goes back in the room. I asked the kids what they thought they were doing. No, I don't know. Probably they farted. I got the boys' attention. They listened to everything. Then I taught them how to get women in their lives to quit talking and repeating things. It's real simple. You'll have to ask me, but I told them a simple technique and it works. Now I'm their hero. Pick the biggest boy. Now, it's not the biggest boy's attention I would want. It's the small guy that's the sidekick who's way smarter than the biggest boy, but lets the biggest boy think he's the leader. But to do that, you have to work through that biggest boy. Best him, impress the other guy. You got your class. So I would get the biggest boy to come up to me and I'd say, get away from me. But before he could, I'd have him up over my head, unable to get away from me. One boy wasn't so impressed, so he told me he would just dodge the bullet. I said, what? I'd dodge the bullet. You would what? I would dodge the bullet. And as he was saying that for the third or fourth time, I let fly the whiteboard marker I had in my hand. Hit him right in the chest. He said, oh. Other pitfalls when you're teaching science. Draw one cell at a time. Even then, watch where you put the nucleus. Be careful drawing mushrooms. Well, the kind of teacher I was. Worms came up from the rain. Kids wanted to save one of the worms, so I had them do research to find out if we could keep the worm. It's too much of a pain, so they were going to put the worm out and make an observation area for the kindergartners until they found out that the real reason worms come up out of the rain, come up out of the ground at all, is to have sex. They couldn't do it. Porn for the kindergartners, so they had to let the worm go. Some of the kids are hyper aware of sex. Some of them are completely innocent. Had a 10-year-old a few years ago. Double entendres would come up, or one of my drawings would happen. And he'd look up at me and go, hell no, he's 10. So I have been dating, not 10-year-olds, but surprisingly younger people, given that from the time when I was married until the time that I started actually dating, MILFs became popular, or cougars, or whatever you want to say. I'm not fond of either of those words, but it's led to some nice dating. I wasn't happy with the young man who pointed out that I was a gilf. I'm not a grandmother, despite the age. Speaking of some interesting dating, the young man who told me he was landscaping his house turned out what he meant was he was pulling the weeds by the bridge under which he lived, but I didn't know that at the time. Apparently needed to take a bit of a rest and was laying down at my house. Don't ask. I was working on the computer and I was disturbed by this. Mommy. I turned around and not only was it him, but he had something out and was waggling it at me. I told him he needed some better game. His idea of better game was 5 minutes later slapping it on my shoulder. I was escorting him out. He asked if I'd get him high one more time. I said no. He didn't seem to understand why. Oddly paralleled by the gentleman who, again, don't ask too many questions, but asked if he could try on a pair of my panties. Go ahead, try on the panties. But after he left and I came back in, the panties were gone. Now, trying them on is one thing, but taking them with you is another thing. Calls me the next day. I left my sunglasses at your house. Can I come and get them back? Well, yeah, but bring my panties. No panties, no sunglasses. He brings back the panties in a little ball in his pocket. When I opened it up to make sure they were okay, he had somehow gotten a hold of the matching bra. He also wanted to get high. There was the parallel. I said no. He said, why? I said, you stole from me. He said, I wouldn't really call that stealing. Well, I would. He told me I need to have more compassion. Granted, it's not the first time I've been told that. I guess instead of stealing, he considered it alternative. There we go. Alternative possession. Alternative possession. Yeah. A lot of stooges dating. Can you just imagine what it would be like in like a Starbucks atmosphere, and some guy walks in with these pictures and starts handing them out. Here's a picture of my dick. A couple seconds later, he'd go, do you like it? Do you like it? Some girls would throw the picture down and leap back in horror. Some would say critique it. Some girls, when the boy walked in, would demand to see the picture of the dick. And the one that didn't, I don't know. I could go on and on. So you remember the Stooges, right? The Three Stooges, Moe, Larry, Curly, sometimes Shemp. Yeah, in the Middle East, apparently they also have Three Stooges. Yeah. Mohammed, Larry Hamid, Curly Hamid. Stooges started long ago. Yeah. Way back pre-Columbian times, they had Three Stooges. They had, actually, pre-Columbian, that's back in the early days. I don't know. I have to look this guy up. But they had Geronimo, Geronimo Larry, Geronimo Curly. Yeah. I was in Japan to teach for a while. They also had Stooges. Sumo, Sue Larry, Sue Shemp. Well, recently I was in Alaska. I found they had their own Stooges. The Eskimo. Yes, go Larry. Yes, Carly. Okay. Well, recently I've been getting most of my news from comedians, like Marr and Colbert. And I've been getting most of my comedy from politicians. Cruz, Trump. So in Washington, D.C., they also have their own stooges. Everyone. Thank you very much. So, okay, so that's pretty much what my time would be. Well, I'm going to go because I need to go look at the stream, and I would love to see a duration. Wait, that was 7 minutes. Ding, 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 ding. I think we kind of have a winner. So do I add a little song? Do I add a little more comedy, or do I slow the fuck down? Don't know yet.